Have you ever wondered what really happens after we die? Or questioned whether everything we think we know about hell is accurate? Today, we'll explore one of the most debated and misunderstood topics in human history: hell. Contrary to popular belief, many of the images we have about hell may not fully align with what the Bible actually teaches. But what if I told you something even more shocking? What if hell, as most of us imagine it, is currently empty? Surprising, right? The truth is that the Bible offers profound insights about hell, the afterlife, and the eternal consequences of our choices on earth. But this isn't just a theological puzzle. Understanding hell is crucial for comprehending God's justice, mercy, and the eternal fate that awaits every soul. Before we dive into the details, I encourage you to stay with me throughout this entire video, because by the end, you'll walk away with a deeper understanding of what the Bible really says about hell. And if you're new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Let's uncover the hidden truths together. Chapter 1: Misconceptions about Hell. Let's begin by clearing up one major misconception. Hell, as many people imagine it, fire, brimstone, endless, is often thought of as the immediate destination for the wicked after death. However, according to the Bible, that's not entirely true. In fact, hell is not just one place. The Bible reveals multiple realms that together make up what we think of as hell. To understand this, we need to look at what the Bible really says about the afterlife. Let's start with a story that Jesus told in the Gospel of Luke, a story that gives us a glimpse into the afterlife and begins to explain the different realms of hell. Chapter 2: The story of the rich man and Lazarus. In Luke 16:19-31, Jesus tells us of two men, a wealthy man who lived in luxury and a poor man named Lazarus, who suffered in misery and hunger. When both men died, their fates were dramatically reversed. Lazarus was carried by angels to a place of comfort called Abraham's bosom, often interpreted as paradise. Meanwhile, the rich man found himself in Hades, a place of torment. What's striking about this story is the stark contrast between the two afterlife experiences. The rich man, tormented by flames, cries out to Abraham, begging for just a drop of water to cool his tongue. However, Abraham explains that during their lives, the rich man received good things while Lazarus endured hardship. Now their roles are reversed, and a great chasm separates them, making it impossible to cross from one side to the other. This parable is crucial because it introduces the idea that not all souls experience the same afterlife, even though both men are in the same general realm of the dead. The righteous and the unrighteous are separated by an unbridgeable gulf, each receiving what they deserve based on their earthly lives. But what exactly is this place of torment, and how does it relate to what we commonly think of as hell? Chapter 3: Hades and Sheol, the realm of the dead. In the Old Testament, the realm of the dead is referred to as Sheol. This is a place where all souls, righteous and unrighteous, go after death. However, as we saw in the story of the rich man and Lazarus, not everyone in Sheol experiences the same fate. For the unrighteous, Hades, or Sheol, is a place of conscious torment, a foretaste of what is to come after the final judgment. The rich man's experience in Hades is a preview of the eternal suffering that awaits those who reject God. The flames, the regret, the isolation, all point to the sorrow of a life lived apart from God. The Bible repeatedly mentions Sheol as a temporary place where souls await final judgment. In Psalm 16, for example, King David expresses confidence in God's protection, saying, "For you will not abandon my soul to Sheol, nor let your Holy One see corruption." This shows that even the righteous like David went to Sheol, but they awaited a future deliverance. It's important to understand that Sheol is not hell in the eternal sense. It's a holding place where souls await the final judgment. Some, like Lazarus, find peace and comfort in a portion of Sheol known as paradise, while others, like the rich man, endure torment and regret. The Bible paints a clear picture. Hades or Sheol represents the first part of hell, a temporary realm of conscious suffering for the unrighteous. But there's more to hell than just Hades. Chapter 4, Tartarus, the prison of fallen angels. The second realm of hell, according to the Bible, is Tartarus, a place of even deeper torment reserved for fallen angels and demons. This is a spiritual prison, a place of chains of darkness where rebellious angels are held until the day of final judgment. In 2 Peter 2:4 we read, "For if God did not spare angels when they sinned, but cast them into hell and committed them to chains of gloomy darkness to be kept until the judgment." The word hell here is actually translated from the Greek word Tartarus. Tartarus is not a place for human souls, but rather for angels who rebelled against God. According to the Book of Enoch, a non-canonical but influential text, Tartarus is where the Watchers, angels who took human wives and produced the Nephilim, are imprisoned. One of these rebellious angels, Azazel, is said to be bound in Tartarus, in utter darkness until the day of final judgment. What's striking about Tartarus is the severity of the punishment. The angels who once stood in God's presence and knew His glory are now held in the deepest darkness. Their rebellion was so grave that they are kept in chains, awaiting a fate worse than death. Tartarus shows us that hell is not just a place for human souls, but also for spiritual beings who have defied God. Chapter 5, the Lake of Fire, the final destination. Now we come to the most terrifying part of hell, the Lake of Fire. This is the final destination for all who reject God, both humans and fallen angels. The Lake of Fire is not a temporary holding place like Hades or Tartarus. It is the place of ultimate, eternal punishment. The Bible describes the Lake of Fire as a place where the wicked are cast after the final judgment. Revelation 24:14-15 gives a vivid picture of this final moment. Then death and Hades were thrown into the Lake of Fire. This is the second death, the Lake of Fire. And if anyone's name was not found written in the book of life, he was thrown into the Lake of Fire. The second death refers to eternal separation from God. It's not just physical death, but a spiritual death, one that lasts forever. This is the hell that most people think of, a place of eternal fire, torment, and separation from God. Interestingly, the Lake of Fire is not yet populated. No one is currently in this final hell. Not even Satan himself is there, at least, not yet. Revelation tells us that after the final battle, Satan, along with the beast and the false prophet, will be cast into the Lake of Fire, where they will be tormented day and night forever and ever. The Lake of Fire is a sobering reminder of the eternal consequences of rejecting God. It is the ultimate expression of God's justice, a place where evil is finally and fully dealt with. Chapter 6. How does this apply to us today? At this point, you may be wondering, what does all of this mean for me? The reality of hell, as the Bible presents it, is both terrifying and sobering. But it also offers a message of hope. First, it's important to remember that hell is not a place that anyone is predestined to go to. The Bible is clear: that God desires for all people to be saved. In 2 Peter 3:9 we read, "The Lord is not slow in keeping his promise, as some understand slowness. Instead, he is patient with you, not wanting anyone to perish, but everyone to come to repentance." This means that as long as we are alive, we have the opportunity to turn to God and avoid the fate of eternal separation in the lake of fire. Jesus came to earth to offer us a way out, a way to escape the torment of hell and live forever in the presence of God. Let me share a couple of stories that demonstrate the profound impact of turning toward God and away from the path that leads to destruction. There's the story of a man named Dave who spent years struggling with addiction, living a life far from God. His life was in turmoil, relationships broken, his health deteriorating, and his sense of self-worth shattered. Dave often described his life as a living hell. But one day, after a particularly dark episode, he cried out to God for help. Over time, with the support of a faith-based community and his newfound relationship with Christ, Dave experienced a complete transformation. The torment that once defined his life gave way to peace and purpose.